Greetings to the Pioneer viewers. How are you doing? I hope you're healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we continue our reporting activities on the Russia-Ukraine war. In a moment, as every day, we will discuss the developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war with a map. According to the latest reports, the war is limited to 4 front lines. We have already mentioned that a calm has begun on the Kherson front line, which was the scene of a quite active movement for a long time. The silence here continues to a large extent. Other front lines are quite active, especially the Donetsk front line is quite active. According to the claims of some sources, the Russian army, which has been carrying out an intense offensive activities here for some time, loses almost 1,000 soldiers every day. This is quite a big figure. However, as we mentioned, this is still an allegation, but there is a certainty. On the front line, the Russian army loses about 20 armored vehicles and tanks every day. This is a very serious number. So what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's analyze the developments to get there with a map. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the video. As a team, we are working really hard on trying to keep you informed. In order for this work to continue, we need your support. Thank you for all your supports. If you're ready, let's start the Pioneer reports. Let's take a quick look at the latest developments on the Kherson front line. Let's see the map of the Kherson front region. The situation in the area remains largely stable. Ukrainian Marines still hold positions in the forested areas in the direction of Krinky. There are no developments in this area, except for some routine clashes. Of course, although there is a change in some positions, we have not yet been able to confirm them. Therefore, we do not prefer to convey this information to you. Let's take a look at the artillery activities in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Ukrainian positions in the directions of Antoniivka, Belizyrivka, and Pridneprovska, Sadov, and Militsky. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted positions of the Russian armed forces in the directions of Olapristan, Olishki, Podlizhny, Kardashinka, Kokharny, Sahi, Pecheniivka, and Poima. Now let's continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Zaporizhia front line. First, let's see our region on the map. As you know, the Ukrainian armed forces have made critical gains in this region. Now these gains need to be protected. Therefore, the Ukrainian armed forces have taken the defensive positions in this region as the entire front line. According to the latest reports, the Russian armed forces again continued their attacks on the western part of Robotny. According to the information we have obtained from local sources, the Russian armed forces launched an attack here, accompanied by heavy weapons. In addition, these attacks of the Russian troops in this region were successfully repelled by the Ukrainian armed forces. There is no significant weakness in the fortifications of the Ukrainian armed forces so far. It is reported that the losses of the Russian forces are quite heavy. There is a similar situation in Novofedoryovka region. However, here too, we see that the Ukrainian armed forces are successfully resisting. You can see the area on the map. Here the Russian armed forces are attacking the areas west of Novofedoryovka. As you can guess, the aim here is to prevent the Ukrainian army from attacking in the direction of Verbov. But here too, we see that the Ukrainian armed forces, despite being in the crossfire, successfully stopped the attacks of the Russian armed forces. The Ukrainian armed forces are largely trying to continue their attacks in the direction of Verbov. However, so far, there are no detected border changes in the region. Let us continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Ukrainian positions in the Robotny, Novodanilivka, Malaya Shirbyaki, Malaya Tokmakcha, and Pityakhatki directions. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Nestryanka, Kopani, Mirini, Chekhov, Solotka Balka, and Pechishnai. Now let us continue our report by analyzing the latest developments on the Donetsk front line, which has largely shaped the war. First, let's see the Donetsk front line on the map. According to the latest reports, on the Donetsk front line, the Russian armed forces continued their attacks on the fortifications of the Ukrainian armed forces in Novomykhailovka from the south and east. As you can see here, the Novomikhailovka area is located at a very critical point. It is located south of Marinka and Pobeda. For the defense of these regions, Novomikhailovka must be protected to a large extent. If there is a failure here, the Ukrainian armed forces could face major problems. Therefore, there are quite intense clashes here. The Ukrainian armed forces are targeting both infantry units of the Russian armed forces and Russian armored vehicles with their fortifications in this area. It is claimed that a large number of Russian soldiers and Russian armored vehicles were destroyed in this vicinity. We also see that the Russian attacks on the Ukrainian troops in Pobeda. Ukrainian armed forces units in this area have a strong defensive positions. The Ukrainian fortified positions in Avdiivka is being attacked by the Russian armed forces from the southeast, from the industrial area, and from the northeast near the coking plant. Also near Stepnoe, units of the Russian armed forces are trying to break through. However, there is no result. The borderline remains largely unchanged. The Ukrainian armed forces are largely holding their positions. Let us continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Ukrainian positions deployed in the directions of Pobeda, Novomikhailovka, Horliivka, Krasnohorivka, and Nevelsky. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Russian troops deployed in the directions of Staromikhailivka, Lozovi, Pitsky, and Volyadny. Let's continue with the latest developments on the Bakhmut front line. According to the latest reports, in the Bakhmut direction, the Russian armed forces are attacking near Andriivka and along an elevation ridge northwest of Klishchivka. But there is no results. Ukrainian troops are holding their positions on the southern flank. The Russian armed forces are also trying to improve their tactical positions by becoming more active near Stepnoe. The borderline has not changed significantly in the last 24 hours. Ukrainian troops continue to put up fierce resistance. What do you think? Do you think the Ukrainian armed forces will be able to hold their positions? How do you assess the latest developments in the region? Do you think the Ukrainian resistance on the Donetsk front line will continue? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.